For more, let's go back to London. Rebekah Vincent is Director of International Campaigns for Reporters Without Borders. Thank you for speaking with us on France 24.
Thank you for having me.
Earlier, our correspondent Bénédicte Paviot saying there was a bit of a tug of war between the judge and who would be allowed to actually sit in on those hearings, listen to them, watch them. Were you able to watch them?
We were, as Reporters Without Borders, finally able to gain access this morning, but it was not easy. We have been in correspondence with the court for several months on access issues to hearings in this case, and had attempted to get officially accredited to monitor in person the hearings starting this week. However, the court has failed to recognize the role of NGOs and to accommodate us as professional NGO observers, and left us to compete for very few spaces in the public gallery. It was not looking possible, but this morning some representatives of, well, a representative of the German embassy and some German political observers who gained access advocated on our behalf, and at that point additional seats were made possible in the public gallery. So we were able to monitor part of today's proceedings in the end, but it was not because the court accommodated us as NGO observers, quite the opposite.
And what did you make of the tone of arguments? You heard Bénédicte mention there how defense motions to delay the hearings were rejected.
I mean, this is in keeping with the patterns that we've seen so far in the case. The court is very often deciding against the defense motions, and today the decision to do so with the adjournment motion we feel was quite harsh, considering the severe restrictions that Mr. Assange has in receiving information about his own case, his own court documents, the fact that his legal team has not been able to meet him in Belmarsh prison for many months now. We felt that the adjournment request was quite reasonable. So the judge, of course, ruled against that. But what we also noted today was at one point then a witness testimony was brought in, but there were technical difficulties with that, which again fits into a pattern that we have noted in this case. We've been observing administrative hearings for months on the phone line. There have often been technical difficulties as well. So at this point, one has to question whether this is just a question of technical competence or whether there's something more sinister going on.
Something more sinister on whose behalf?
That's a good question, because there are certainly many powers at play here, and certainly the UK and US governments both have interests in this case not being open to public scrutiny. All I can say is that at Reporters Without Borders, we regularly monitor trials in many cases of concern all around the world, and I personally have done so throughout my human rights career, and there have been more obstacles in this case than any that I have ever witnessed.
One final question, and it's one that's been posed to you, I'm sure, a lot, Rebekah Vincent. There's WikiLeaks, the organization that uncovered injustices such as the killing of those Reuters journalists in Iraq. But there's also the accusation that just those blind data dumps were reckless and endangered lives. Are you defending Julian Assange the man or Julian Assange the principle?
We are defending Julian Assange's contributions to public interest reporting. So it's not about individual personalities, but it's about journalism. It's about press freedom. And make no mistake, as Reporters Without Borders, we fully believe that he has been targeted for his contributions to journalism, and it should be treated as such. The information that resulted from the leaks was certainly in the public interest, and ultimately, in persecuting individuals like Mr. Assange, it is the public that suffers, because the public will get less information that they have the right to know, information that allows us to make informed decisions and hold our own governments to account. So that is what is at stake.
Rebekah Vincent of Reporters Without Borders, thank you for joining us from London.
Thank you.
Stay with us. There's more to come on France 24. Yeah, we'll be talking about the brewing tug of war between London and Brussels over Brexit, plus the day's business and sports. You're watching France 24.